All the Honourable Member Sua William Seo. Talofa lava, Mr. Seo.
Talofa lava, Mr. Chairman.
Moi oi.
Manuia whawhtai, Mr. Chairman.
Lava.
Whawhtai wa lava loa. Mr. Chairman, just quickly respond to the Minister. People might think he has a sore throat, but he was choking on those words. He just struggled with trying to convince the rest of the House about whether they really do have any commitment about having more houses. And I want to say to the public, they have no commitment. You heard earlier from the Minister how he listed up the consents, how he listed up the various dots on the map, but there weren't any houses. If you're wanting more houses, this is the party that you look to in order to build 100,000 houses in the next 10 years, and that's what we will do, that's what we will commit to. Mr. Chairman, can I just briefly thank you for the introduction in Samoan, and with the indulgence of this House, just briefly pay my respects to a Samoan elder in Mangere who has passed away, and in accordance with the Samoan Language Week this week, may I just pay my respects to this elder by saying, wa ngā sosolo au I tawalunga ma tawalalo, o mauta whiwai sa tele mo walo, wa ta ape papa I siufanga, mauta whiwai pai to marifi, wa la ngia fo I tua vao o le mauta whiwai leota, wa pōle nu le matua ma falfale ainga tali malamba ma upo ya te o el falelua, wa usuia le fono I le tōwhai atu inga tee o se tasi o poutu o le kālesia PIC I Mangele. The chief Tuinga Te passed away this week at 83 years of age. He was a lay preacher for PIC Mangere that the minister will be aware of, a pioneering member of that church. But more importantly to me and the people of Mangere, and particularly to the family, he was a staunch Labour supporter going back to the days of David Lange, and this man he had never forgotten. David Lange asked him to be a JP, and so he became a JP. May I simply give you some preliminary comments about this particular bill and say that our vision is to ensure, this is Labour's vision, not this government's vision, our vision is to ensure local government is responsible, responsive and accountable to local communities, affordable for its residents and ratepayers, and effective in dealing with local issues. The government's reforms to promote amalgamation, CCOs and local boards is concerning, not only to us, but to the local government sector and to many ratepayer organisations. The true cost of the Auckland Super City reforms still has not been calculated, and we should not be pushing that model out of the rest of the country, ignoring of the cost to local communities. Local boards do not have the same powers and competence of full councils, and establishing them as a replacement for representation from councillors can shut communities out of the important decisions made about them, and that's certainly a strong view expressed by regions outside of the Auckland City. And while local boards may work in an Auckland context, the imposition of these into provincial and rural New Zealand is felt will undermine the existing territorial authorities. The ability of the Local Government Commission to impose council-controlled organisations on communities in the process of amalgamation is undemocratic, a view held by a growing number of New Zealanders. CCOs significantly reduce the ability of council services to be transparent and held accountable. And while there needs to be flexibility in consultation, meaningful input from the community must not be shut. This bill, in our view, erode consultation that councils have with ratepayers by repealing most requirements to use the prescribed formal process when consulting under the Local Government Act 2002. And I've got to ask the Minister, why does the government wish to scrap this provision? And sir, I have introduced on behalf of our Labour Party 5 supplementary order papers The aim of those supplementary order papers is, in our view, whilst we will support this bill, there are significant elements of this bill, sir, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member, Sua William Seo.
There are significant elements of this bill that we would like to be able to improve upon, to give us confidence, to give the rest of New Zealand some sense of confidence about some key elements of the bill that we believe ought to be strengthened. I also want to ask the Minister that not too long ago, a group of local mayors calling themselves the Local Democracy Coalition, concerned about forced amalgamation agenda being pushed by this government. This is an organisation that favour regional cooperative and service delivery. They are against the removal of responsible local democracy, and particularly against the imposition of a super city structure on them. I want to ask the Minister whether the supplementary order papers that this group, the Local Democracy Coalition, forwarded to the Minister, whether they are in receipt of that and whether they have a view on that and whether they are prepared to introduce those supplementary order papers at this particular time. These organisations and other LTAs, including, I would say, the Bay of Plenty region, have very strong cases why they feel, and I believe that they're on the right, they should not be compelled to amalgamate without a cost-benefit analysis, and they should not be forced to amalgamate without genuine and meaningful input from the ratepayers. And they have proposed, I think, at least 2 or 3 supplementary order papers. I take it that it was in the name of the Honourable Paula Bennett, and I just want to ask the Minister whether he's in receipt of those and whether it's their intention to table those for our debate. Can I go through the supplementary order papers, sir, and briefly just say that Supplementary Order Paper 456, this supplementary order paper amends Part 1 and Schedule 5 to restore the 4 well-beings. And I think this is important, sir, because the 4 well-beings, in my view, and the view of the Labour Party, is the foundation of why we do things. We don't do things just to keep count of how many councils there are. We don't do things to keep count of what our gross national product is. We do things for the sake of people. We do things so that we are trying to achieve social, economic, environmental and cultural outcomes. And I think as long as the 4 well-beings, the core of the Local Government Act, remains intact in the RMA, I'm asking this House to consider we've also got to ensure that this is put back into the foundation of this particular bill. The supplementary order paper 458 by Eugene Seiji of the Green Party, we would support that. It is very similar to my supplementary order paper 459, with the exception that we provide one further technical change. We're asking that we restore the definition of community infrastructure, which can be funded using development contributions. Those members of the committee who sat through the public submissions would have heard strong and passionate advocacy from local government, local boards, mayors, chief executives, a range of organisations that have serious and genuine concerns about what we then do with local infrastructure. In fact, many of those people who were quite angry with the changes that this government is proposing were in actual fact members of the National Party. And I know that because I did ask 1 or 2 that turned up in Auckland, and they were paid up members of the National Party but were very angry with the proposition by this government to change the definition of community infrastructure. Supplementary Order 460 is a supplementary order paper in my name by the Labour Party to amend Schedule 2 to remove the ability of the Local Government Commission to impose council-controlled organisations during the process of a local government amalgamation. We believe that councils already have the ability to create CCOs outside of an amalgamation, and simply legislating that you're now going to force councils to do this is something that I think we need to correct in this piece of legislation. Mr. Chairman.
I call the Honourable Member Eugenie Sage.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, the Green Party strongly opposes the